Hello, 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 and welcome. Oh my gosh, it's a special episode, but as always, my name is Josh Castro, and I'm joined, also as always, by my best friend and my co-host, Chris Midling, but this is a special one, guys, because it's not just Chris, it's not just me. We're joined by a very special man. He's the guy who made the first Strand-type video game review. The first serious critique of Minecraft and Mojang. We're joined by a man who is white, but his content is not light. It's Whitelight. Our studio audience, they love you, Whitelight. We're so grateful you're here.
Oh, man, it's great. It feels great to be adored by so many.
Oh, and you are, of course. No, we're grateful you're on the show.
Thank you.
We're glad that you're here. And we're excited to have a good time.
Me too.
For those who can read, we're talking about the Outer Wilds. But before we get into the Outer Wilds, we wanted to get to know you a bit better, Whitelight. And we want everyone at home to better understand who you are beyond, your status as a anthropomorphic source of light.
Yeah. No, there's always depths to dig. Sure.
Oh, yeah. And we want to dig them. And so, some of these questions are going to be a bit more light. Some of them, we'll have to talk a little bit more about them.
Oh, boy.
But hearing your voice, we know that you're from, the UK. Everyone can hear that at home. And so I know there's a question that is just on everyone's minds over here.
Uh-huh.
And that is, what's the deal with Brexit?
What's the deal with Brexit?
What is it? We don't understand over here.
Well,
Chris and I were arguing about it this morning.
Britain decided that the server host of the EU was power tripping, okay?
Okay.
So they said, no, we can do things without you. We don't want your stinky, Europeanness. So we're leaving. Goodbye.
Wow.
I mean...
Wow. That's actually wild.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of motives beneath each side to stay or leave. Money to be made. That's what happened. We just said, no, don't want to be part of you anymore. We seceded from the United States of Europe.
Well, we know what that's like, so...
Yeah.
That's exciting. And also maybe not. We don't know if that's good or not over here. But
depends on who you are.
That's crazy. That makes sense. We were talking about this morning and we were like, did Ireland leave the UK? We had no idea what was happening.
Yeah, that's a topic for another 7-hour video.
That's what I thought. I was like, man, maybe we shouldn't even do this dumb video game. We got all this stuff to talk about with the UK.
Yeah. You could write a few books about that. It'd take more than a podcast.
Well, I'm glad you told us. You've enlightened us. Because, when Brexit comes up, because it comes up in the States a lot in, TV, movies, and, the news, and the word Brexit is said, and people just look at each other like, I know what that is, but, they don't want to say they don't know what it is because they'll look dumb.
Yeah.
So I think just no one knows what it is over here.
Really?
I had no idea. And
well, it wasn't.
I'm almost a college graduate, which means nothing, but you know what I mean?
I guess it didn't seem that significant from the outside because
oh, that's so funny.
Everyone in Britain keeps up to date with US politics. We know everything that's going on. And it's also vivid and entertaining. It's like a cinematic universe.
Of course.
Yeah.
But Brexit is just so boring.
Yes.
Oh, come on. You're seceding. That's the most exciting thing that can happen.
Yeah, but Britain's in the exact same place it was before. Geographically.
That's true. That's true. You're not actually leaving.
No.
Wow, that's cool though. So what's your favorite ridiculous American thing that's been happening? It doesn't have to be as serious as Brexit, but because you say that, what is the thing that is best captured your attention?
Oh God, it's impossible to choose. What is most ridiculous? I guess I guess the celebrities, the celebrity politics, that kind of thing. You know, like, yeah, there's been like a big Joe Rogan debate.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing about this.
No one in the UK can understand. I mean, that's not to say the UK is better. The UK is so much more boring and can be very prude. But yeah, I guess for people from the UK, it's like, whoa, how is this? This is some alternate reality over there where it's just happens and no one questions it.
Yep. No, it's funny.
Yeah,
I'm glad. Because like for us, it's just reality. It's like we live in this weird thing where every day something new is some weird thing is happening, but it's just normal, you know?
Well, the thing is, when you live on the internet, there's no real borders, and because America is the dominant voice, it just feels like you're a part of America if you're online.
That's interesting.
Wow.
It is weird.
We're all together.
Yeah.
Speaking of celebrities,
Oh.
have you heard anything about Kanye recently?
I've heard that he said Pete Davidson has AIDS. Is gay.
Wild.
Yeah.
What's going on, Kanye? I like that that's what's at the top of our news. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I know more about that than I know about Brexit. You know, it's like...
It's a fun life.
That's right. It's a
Right,
fun
can't
life without consequences. We just get to laugh at Kanye.
Oh man, that's awesome. It's like a high school kid. He's gay. He has AIDS.
He has AIDS. When I was so I served a mission for my church. All it meant is that we went to a different place and we started to try to teach people how to be like happy in life and try to help them find more happiness through God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I did it in Spanish, and I didn't know Spanish at the time.
Damn.
So there's a place that you go called the Missionary Training Center. You just learn how to speak the language essentially before they throw you into the deep end. And I remember there was a friend of mine who was there, and you stay there for like a couple weeks. So like by the time you're there for 3 or 4 weeks, you pretty much know the basics of the language, and you've learned a bunch of words because you're there with people who are native speakers who are learning English, and you're there learning Spanish, right? And so you can learn from them and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, a friend of mine, his name is Kaler, he talked to the guys who were native speakers of Spanish and learned how to say, I have AIDS. And he would go to the new missionaries who had just gotten there like a day or two ago, and he'd be like, okay, guys, I got to teach you an important phrase, like this is important for missionary work or whatever. And he would teach them how to say, I have AIDS, and tell them it was like a good Spanish greeting. And so these kids
that's genius.
would go up to people. Oh, I know. And they'd just tell them they had AIDS. But like, everyone's nice. So like, they wouldn't say like, what's wrong with you? They would just be confused and walk away.
I never expected a 4chan prank to come from church missionaries. That's revealing.
You never know.
Yeah.
But good times. Man, AIDS, it's everywhere right now. It's like the 80s.
Apparently so.
But, I got a question for you. Speaking of, like, the way that celebrities invade our lives and can even, like, become a topic that you just fall into for days at a time, or American politics for that example. But I want to know what a YouTube rabbit hole is that you've fallen into recently. A channel that is maybe not in your normal realm, but that's something that has really captured your attention and that you've been into that maybe is not your standard fare, if you know what I mean.
Oh, man. Recently?
And if you got to think about it, we have stuff on our minds, too. So just let us know if you want to go first or if you want to take a second to think.
I guess I've watched a lot of... sometimes I get really deep into the communities of certain games, find the people who are really hardcore about various topics, and I watch their stuff just to see how they think, what they think of the games in general, because they usually have some really good insights. I did that for Assassin's Creed recently.
Oh boy.
A little sneak peek.
So that's always fun. But I guess that's not the most entertaining one.
No, that's cool though. Like, and is there a channel you want to shout out? Because we wanted to give you an opportunity to do that too. Like, if you want more people to see that, or
if you're interested in hardcore Assassin's Creed stuff, I guess you should check out Leo K.
Leo K.
Yeah.
Is it like role playing? Like they role play?
No. It's
as
just,
Assassin's Creed.
They're dedicated fans. They know the mechanics inside and out, and they give their opinions on what the series is doing and how to get better at the games if you're looking to do that.
How do you feel about Assassin's Creed?
Well, I suppose the franchise, it's not really the same franchise anymore. I mean, it shares the same name, but there's always going to be arguments when you have two fundamentally different franchises, different distribution structures, different content focuses, different approaches to what the believability should be, and they're forced to share space just because of a name, but they're not really the same franchise. People get angry over that. I wouldn't really say that Assassin's Creed has been changed, I'd just say it's been replaced.
I like that.
I like that.
I don't necessarily like the new vision more. I don't. I just think, you know, I want the old Assassin's Creeds back, but they don't really exist anymore. They don't sell anymore.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the first game a lot, and I played through till Revelations, I think. And that's right before they started changing to this massive open world with ships and all this other RPG mechanics.
Chris is very afraid of water. He hates the ship parts.
I know. I can't swim. No, I miss the setting of Jerusalem.
Yeah.
You never see that.
So cool.
I think the only other game that I can kind of think of maybe is Jericho, the Clive Barker game.
Oh, I've heard of that.
He brings up Jericho anytime.
Yeah.
I'll always bring that game up if I get the chance.
I heard that was
to,
incredibly
but
controversial, that game.
yeah, it was. I mean, I was probably way too young to play it when I did,
Yeah.
but it was something else, and it's a. You know, I kind of miss that era of video games where they really took a lot of risks and tried things. Some of it doesn't stick at all, but some of it is pretty damn
Yeah.
cool.
I suppose it's only really indie devs who do the innovation these days.
Yeah, the heavy lifting.
Sadly.
Yeah, I miss Jerusalem.
Yeah.
I miss Altair.
I just finished the first Assassin's Creed game recently, and this week
nice.
actually. Yeah, Jerusalem. What an engrossing setting. All of the cities in the first game are incredible.
I know. I feel like, and the thing is this, because it's not like way more games have covered, you know, like the Saxon or like, you know, the Viking invasion of Europe. Like it's not like it's a tried and true setting or something. I mean, they're still going to places where most games haven't been.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. There's something magical about those first couple places.
Yeah.
Who's to say? I know that, I mean, because it's cool to like go down these rabbit holes for like video games and communities and stuff. I think that that's how I got sucked into your videos, was through Assassin's Creed. Weirdly
Oh,
enough.
really?
I'm not a huge Assassin's Creed guy. I mean, I really loved the first one and the second one when I was like 13,
Yeah.
you know, and it was mind blowing. There was blood in these games. But for some reason, I just was like, I'd never even thought to analyze a game like Assassin's Creed Rogue or like Assassin's Creed, you know, Black Flag or Minecraft. You know what I mean? Like, I would never have thought to do that. And so your videos were a rabbit hole for me because it was like just a totally different way of looking at games that I dismissed. You know, like who thinks about Blur?
Yeah.
But I've always been really impressed with your ability to focus in on these games that other people maybe don't care about or don't realize are, you know, as ripe for commentary as other games.
I suppose there are two real niches for, well, I don't know if niche is the right word, maybe untapped, maybe games that you wouldn't usually think about. And those are the games that nobody's ever heard of, which are the ones that Mandalore reviews. And he does an incredible job of that.
Yeah, he does.
And there's also the ones that are so popular, maybe quite mainstream, that they just get overlooked. Nobody really thinks about them. You know, the games that get analysed are usually in the middle. They're the Witchers, the Mass Effects. they are popular and they are mainstream, but they command a sort of, I don't know, an air of respect. I don't know if that's the right word, but they feel sophisticated in some way. I don't think that, but what's another good example of that? The Souls series is a great example of that. There's a billion analyses of the Souls series because they just they seem quite mysterious. They seem quite sophisticated. But Assassin's Creed certainly doesn't. GTA certainly doesn't. Call of Duty certainly doesn't. I think there's a value in going to those games and thinking, damn, why were they so fun? Or why weren't they so fun?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kind of like almost what went wrong or something like that.
Yeah, it can often be that way.
Or what went right.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I think it's cool that you can fill that niche. So you've been doing a great job.
Thank you. Well, I only do that. I only talk about the big games sometimes. They're the ones that get the views, though.
Yeah, but you gotta follow the views.
Yeah.
You know what? I've been watching a channel recently that has so many views, and I guess he's filling a real specific niche too.
Oh yeah.
And it's this it's called Tier Zoo.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
like like
Zoo,
tiers. Yeah. He's amazing. Like he talks about animals as if they're like in a video game.
Yeah.
And like the current meta and like how alligators fit into the meta and like
what
he talks about like meteors and like when meteors came and like destroyed the dinosaurs, it's like the mods like like wiping the server and like starting a new patch or something. It's hilarious. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's great. He's found a way to attract a wide audience, and yet he condenses this really interesting information so well. He gets so much great, interesting in and packages it up all in this humorous way. It's a really, really, really great channel.
Who would have thunk? So I'm glad he's there.
Yeah, me too.
Is there a thing that you've been looking at, Chris? You're probably looking at music reviews or something stupid.
No, when I think of rabbit hole on YouTube, I think of, it might be a little morbid, but car accidents.
Oh yeah. Yes.
That's the good stuff.
That's a classic. You know, there's hundreds of compilations, and they're not the ones you find on Reddit where you see people die, but it's just close enough,
It's just close.
It just like scratches that itch of like, I need to see this. And maybe you want to see it because you know that there's some terrible drivers that screwed you over on the road. And when you see other people do the same thing that they do, and then they get caught or something, or they get in an accident, it's kind of rewarding. Or Live PD has been one that PD. Me and my wife have been watching a lot.
What's that? Is that like Crime Watch?
It's where police officers pull over people, and that's pretty much it.
They just watch people get pulled over.
Yeah, it's crazy. Someone will have like a tail light out, and they'll pull them over, and then they have like 15 like pounds of heroin in their tire.
Jesus.
Or something. Yeah, it's crazy. But an old rabbit hole I used to go on, this kind of goes back to British government and the EU is watching Parliament.
Yeah, that's always fun.
And how crazy they get. Because if you watch like the Senate for
like
the United
Congress.
States, it's pretty boring. It's pretty you just fall asleep to it.
Yeah.
In Parliament, it's awesome. It's almost like a blood
I suppose
brawl.
that is the one thing that Britain has on America in terms of entertainment value.
Yeah.
I mean, you can watch it on TV.
Your politics are
every
entertaining.
Thursday on Prime Minister's Questions. You can watch Parliament.
Yes.
There you go. I was like, speaking of Parliament and like being British, we like to ask our guests like what their 5 favorite things are about like blank,
Okay.
And I wanted to know what your 5 favorite things are about being British and apparently not being part of the UK.
Top 5 things about Britain. I do enjoy the comedy. I do enjoy the comedy. It's got, I don't know why it works. It can be very rude, but it can also be quite subtle. And you know, they get so creative with the insults. It's you guys are familiar with Doctor House?
Yes.
That's quite a British style of humor that's really popular over here. I love that. I love all the British comedy shows generally.
I love that dry humor.
It can be quite cozy. It's a very small country. It's quite dense. It's, you know, there are big parts of it. They've got big castles and things like that, but it can be quite homely and comfortable. I like the fact that it rains a lot. I'm weird like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the rain.
No, it's great.
Better than the snow.
Oh man.
It's better than the sun.
I mean, I like the fact that it's a fairly modern country where you can get stuff easily.
These are all very practical things. I like it.
I know. It's just Britain can be really quite boring. It's not got a extremely vivid, expressive culture. Like, yeah, it can be quite a sterile place.
No, that's okay.
You have a fantastic music scene.
That's true.
I gotta say. And you have Gordon Ramsay, and that tops anything that we have, honestly.
He is the best celebrity chef currently alive, sure.
Yeah, that's a competitive field right there. So, I mean, he's doing good.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to have Top Gear.
Oh, yeah, I love Top
that's
Gear.
True.
I grew up watching
But
Top
now
Gear.
you guys have got that.
I know, it sucks now.
I like the Grand Tour, but only sometimes.
But only sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, the writing's not as strong.
Was Top Gear like... So, in my memory, Top Gear was set in the UK.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now it's set in the States, correct?
Sometimes. I mean, Amazon own it, and the first season was very heavily centered around America, and they had an American race car driver to replace the Stig, and they visited America a huge amount of times in the Grand Tour. But in the later seasons, I don't think Amazon's giving it quite as big a budget, and they've been allowed a little more creative freedom, and they're more UK focused now.
That's good. That's how they should be.
That's good.
I think it is. I mean, they must have done it just because driving in the States is so... It's such a different experience, not because the roads are different or because the people are even that different. But I know a lot of people here at my school. I go to a school in Rexburg, Idaho, but we have a ton of people from Europe and from South America. It's a pretty international school. And it's like my psychology teacher, she's French. I have another psychology teacher that's French. We have a guy from Spain, you know, all that jazz.
Yeah.
And they always talk about how bizarre it is to like drive as far as we do.
Oh yeah.
Like they'll be like, oh, like I don't want to go to the mountains. It's such a far drive. And we're like, oh, how far is it over there in France? They're like, it's like 2 hours. It's a day trip. And we're like, dude, I drive 2 hours to go to Costco. You know, like when I want to go home, I drive 13 hours. It's just like, it's funny, like hearing the contrast of like what driving is like in these different places.
Oh, I've heard that so many times. That yeah, if you go to America, it's a shock at how much you guys have to drive.
It's forever, all the time, and for us, it's just normal, you know.
The thing is, it's a lot of straight lines in the US,
Which is worse. But when, because I live in California half the time, and then live here in Rexburg the other half. Rexburg's in Idaho. It doesn't matter. It's like hard leaving a place.
Right.
But driving here is like hellish. I mean, just straight lines through the desert. You know, you see a Carl's Jr. once every 4 or 5 hours.
What's that?
It's a bad fast food.
Oh,
it's horrible.
is it? I thought I
Their
knew.
chicken nuggets are shaped like stars.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound great.
Take that as well. Yeah, it's not that good. And weren't there fries smiley faces, Chris?
I think at one point they were.
Oh my god,
Dude, it's so weird. What's fast food like in Britain?
Oh, we mainly have American. I mean, it depends. Local fast food is way bigger in Britain than it is in America. We do have chains. We have American chains. We've got McDonald's. We got Burger King, and more American chains are coming in. We've got The donut places, Krispy Kreme, Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh yeah.
But local chicken shops are a huge deal.
Oh, chicken shops.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice. That's awesome.
Is it like just rotisserie chickens?
Oh man, no, not really. It's chicken wings and a lot of kebabs.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
Like kebabs, like gyros and like food like that? Like Greek food?
Turkish food.
Turkish food. I wish we had more authentic food like that, like Turkish food or like Greek food, or we just have like
Yeah.
fast food for days.
Yeah, I suppose we do take for granted how much local food there is.
Yeah, it's pretty dead here, especially in Rexburg. But no, that's super cool though.
What have you got in Rexburg?
Oh man, we got McDonald's.
Nice.
We got Burger King.
Awesome.
We got Taco, but it's like literally just all fast food.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bad. There's an Arby's.
Oh?
It's pretty gross. Yeah, that's all there is. But I think the best places to go are like grocery stores and then just like get a sandwich from the deli. And I know we kind of warned you about this, but we love to talk about food. You know that. And sandwiches have been on our minds for months. We keep meaning to do a whole episode on it. We're just going to do a short little thing here. But I want to know like what your ideal sandwich is. I don't know if Britain just looks at the sandwich completely different. I don't know if our sandwiches are foreign, but I want to know what your ideal sandwich is.
This might just be pure ignorance on my part, but I think sometimes Americans have a broader definition of sandwich. Because Americans would put like any two bread-like things together and have filling, and then that's a sandwich. But I don't think people from the UK have like harder semantic boundaries on what you would call a sandwich. And it's not being snobby, it's just the word you'd use.
Yes.
Like
Sure,
you've got to have, it's got to be from a loaf of bread, and it's got to be simple. It's just got to be that kind of thing. No weird bread, no baguettes. That's not a sandwich. That's something else. That's just a baguette.
Wow. So where does baguette end and loaf begin?
That's a great.
That's the real question.
That is the real question. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
No.
Wow.
You just know.
The
You
baguette
just know.
ends at the border of France and Britain.
Well, now we've left the EU, maybe we can start calling them sandwiches.
There we go.
There you go.
Like, for example, do you guys have Subway?
They are in Britain. They're not that popular,
As they
but
should be.
They're around. Maybe.
That's wise. But, you know, like the size of their bread, you know, maybe 2.5 inches wide, long.
Mm-hmm.
Is that loaf territory?
Oh man, no, we would probably consider subs a baguettes. We would never call a sub a sandwich. Not in a million years.
Whoa! That's crazy. Subs aren't sandwiches? Oh my god.
No, a sandwich is just like two square pieces of bread, two square flat pieces of bread and stuff inside.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you guys are born with dictionaries in your hands. That's crazy.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of weird.
So like, is a burger a type of sandwich?
No, we
Or
just
is a
call it
burger
a burger.
completely separate?
Burger's just a burger.
What if it's square though?
People would get confused, but the giveaway is the meat inside, because you'd never have that kind of meat in a sandwich.
Oh, but could you have like a steak sandwich?
Yes. See, now you're asking the real questions here.
Wow.
You could have a steak sandwich and people would start to get confused.
People couldn't handle it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, this is like so enlightening. I had no idea. What about this? You get square pieces of bread. It's from a loaf. It's sliced.
Okay.
Standard procedure so far.
All right.
Peanut butter
Yeah.
and jelly.
Oh, yeah, that's a sandwich.
Okay.
It would come across as very American, but people would accept it.
And so, like, if that's the epitome of the American sandwich,
Yeah.
what's the epitome of the British sandwich?
Oh, man. Ploughman's, I guess. Do you guys have Ploughman's where it's just cheese and pickles?
What?
What? I mean, that sounds good, though. Like, I feel like I could eat that, but, like, what?
Yeah, they're really popular in Britain.
Wow. So cheese, bread, pickle.
Yep.
No condiment.
I'm
I
sure.
feel like they just didn't finish their sentence.
I'm sure I'm missing something. There's got to be something more to it. But in my head, it's just some strong cheddar, some strong pickles, and these are pickled onions, and then the bread, and that's it.
I could go for that. Although I think most Americans couldn't. Americans have very fragile taste buds.
Yeah, I think a big cultural thing is your cheese, because American cheese is quite different from cheese.
Yes.
And there's a lot of artificial cheese in Britain, and there is zero. I mean, sorry, there's a lot of artificial cheese in America, and there is zero artificial cheese in Britain.
Yeah.
So I think it would
What color
be weird.
is your cheddar?
White, cream.
It's like probably how it's supposed to be. I like, even if you buy like the nice cheese, you know?
Yeah.
Like you go to the store, there's like, tiers of cheese quality.
Oh yeah.
If you buy like the nice cheese, it's still yellow.
Really?
Yeah, it's bizarre. You can buy like the white cheese, like the white cheddar cheese. It comes in a black label. It's like you're buying like whiskey or something.
Oh wow.
But it's like got wax on it and stuff. But you get the black label white cheddar, and it's like getting habaneros or something. It's like getting a really spicy food. That's how it's looked at. It's not like the normal cheese to get. It's like, oh, you're adventurous. You're getting like the black label white cheese.
Yeah.
But dang, who'd have thunk? Yeah, have you ever heard of a bread and butter pickle?
Bread and butter pickle. No.
It's disgusting.
What's that?
Oh my gosh.
They're disgusting. It's an American thing. So, bread and butter pickles are sweet pickles.
Oh.
And so they taste
gosh.
sugary almost.
Yeah.
But where they come from is the Great Depression, and people would get bread, they get some butter, slather the butter on it, boom, sweet pickles, that's your sandwich.
That does sound like a ploughman's. So maybe
I
you
know.
guys do know what
That's
that is.
I thought. So maybe we do have a plowman's, who knows?
Yeah.
But that was incredibly...
That was enlightening. Thank you. That was.
That's right.
I've never
Yeah.
heard of a pickle cheese sandwich before.
It's kind of disgusting, thank you.
Yeah. It's stunning how we just take for granted what default taste is, and we never realize how weird it can be to other people.
I feel like at least your pickles aren't terrible. I feel like
At least they're the way they should be.
Americans have an overblown, taste in food. We need more. We always need more.
Yeah.
You think of a PB&J, classic American sandwich, apparently. I have met people who will slather marshmallow cream into it.
Oh, man.
Doesn't that sound terrible?
Why?
Yeah.
It's this constant need for excess.
I have heard.
Yeah, that's the American tradition.
Yeah, things like that. It's when people go to America, the first thing they notice isn't really the portion size. It's more just, holy, this is sweeter than it was in Britain.
Yep. Oh my
Yes.
gosh! Like we have really, really bizarre things. Like like the sweetness side, and just like even just with pickles. Like it's never enough to have just pickles and like sweet pickles, which the sweet pickles don't need to exist anyway.
Yeah.
But it's like you have normal pickle, you have sweet pickle, you have jalapeno pickle, you have like rose pickles for some
Dill?
reason.
What?
Every single thing they could put in the brine, new pickle. It's like a pickle aisle. And it's that way for everything. It's not enough to have root beer, which is American enough, right? You got creamy root beer. You got strawberry root beer. You got cherry root beer. It's really awful.
Wow.
We just iterate forever on every single thing.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of American drinks in Britain, so we kind of know what that one's like. I wouldn't say we've got that many types of pickle.
There's lots of pickle here.
We've got plenty of types
Grateful
of
for you
cheese, though.
guys.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was gonna be our last question. I want to talk about some campfire food here, but there's one question that I feel we cannot not ask.
Okay.
This is to get a background for you of not just your tastes or your political origins. We want to know the games that are like emblematic of your childhood. Like if you think of your childhood, what are the games that defined it? It can be 1, it can be 2, it could be 3, it could be whatever you want. But just
man.
whatever games defined you.
I suppose the ones that defined my childhood were the normie picks. It was Zelda. It was Ocarina.
one?
Well, at first it was Ocarina, and then it was the other ones. I mean, we played Zelda religiously as they came out, up until about Skyward Sword, when we started to think, damn, this isn't as good as I hoped.
Yeah.
Wow. The only universal experience.
Yeah, apparently so, yeah.
What about adolescence? If you had to choose one game that defined you so that you don't feel like a normie.
Oh, man. There's so many games I played that shaped my tastes.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily that I think they're the greatest games in the world. I just, they had a big impact. Probably Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, Deus Ex, Darksiders. The ones the Spider-Man games. It's not necessarily that I think those are the best games. I don't, certainly not. But they did have a big impact on me.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it goes, man. Like, when you're a kid, it doesn't matter if a game is, like, going to win an Oscar for its script. I mean, like, I think for me, the game that I remember most as, like, totally shaping me was, like, Phantom Hourglass on the DS from Zelda. You know what I mean? I mean, just, like, my heart is beating out of my chest. I love it so much. And like, Star Wars The Force Unleashed, like, these games are not that great. But when you're a kid, it doesn't matter.
No.
There's still what makes you who you are.
Do you remember that part in Phantom Hourglass where you had to close your DS to get one thing to imprint onto the other?
That's
Dude.
wild.
Did you figure
The
that
height
out?
of game design.
I didn't figure that out. I did it by accident.
He's got frustrated.
Yeah, I literally did. I closed it in rage, put it down, forgot to turn it off, and I woke up in the morning and it solved itself.
Wow. Maybe that's what they wanted you to do. They were trying to make you angry.
Yeah, genius. It worked.
Wow. No, that game's wild, man. There's so many, like, crazy things. Like, do you remember when you get to that island in the shape of a whale, but you have to, like, draw it with the stylus?
Partially.
Man, there were some cool things in that game.
Yeah, it's a very underrated game.
I know, no one talks about it. Everyone says it's not good. But
Maybe it doesn't live up to the other games, but I actually think it's more fun than Skyward Sword.
oh yeah.
Not just
But,
on Skyward Sword. I just think Phantom Hourglass is a very good game.
But it's so fun too.
No.
Yeah,
Skyward
it
Sword's
is.
the worst.
Yeah.
Oh man. Poor Skyward Sword. I remember being so excited and getting, like, the gold version. You know what I mean? Like, it had, like, a shiny gold
Wiimote.
like Wiimote or something. I saved up money.
Oh yeah.
I gave my life to this.
Yeah.
Broke my heart. Like, I never finished it. I was a diehard fan for years and never even finished Skyward Sword.
Yeah, a lot of people just thought, what is going on here?
Well, don't worry. You can play on the Switch now and pay $30 for an amiibo. They'll let you fast travel.
Oh, Christ. Swear to God.
That's right.
If people held Nintendo to the same moral standards we hold Ubisoft to, there would be a narrative earthquake.
Seriously.
Oh, yes. I was talking about that yesterday with a friend because, all the reviews for Pokemon Arceus are coming out. And I don't know if you're a Pokemon guy. I wouldn't say I'm a closet Pokemon fan. I've been pretty loud, but I like Pokemon more than a grown man should. And,
Are you excited for this one?
but I haven't played Arceus, obviously, but the reviews came out, IGN, how trustworthy are they? But they gave it a 7 out of 10, and they talked about how lifeless it looks and all this jazz. And it's just like, man, if this game was not a Pokemon game, it would be getting, like, 2s, Like, and I feel that way about a lot of the Pokemon games, especially, like, from X and Y forward. I don't know how familiar you are. But, man, if these weren't Pokemon, these games would be lambasted.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, like, a Nintendo thing, it would just be like, wait, who's going to play this?
Yeah,
Tears.
I understand that.
Breaking my heart. But, it's funny that these giant studios can come up with crap, or not crap, but, just non-innovative, boring stuff every year. But then we got these small guys. We got people like Mobius Games making incredible, innovative, forward-thinking games like The Outer Wilds, and it's probably time for us to start talking about it.
What a legendary transition. I think we should have a moment of applause.
That's right. Studio audience is going wild, trust me. But, man, this game, guys. I didn't know what I expected, but I didn't expect what could be like a life-changing game, okay? If you guys haven't played it, go play it. Stop listening to our dumb podcast, okay? Go play Outer Wilds, and then come back, and then listen to us talk about it.
You kind of have to.
What are you...
Yeah.
That's right.
Because the game will no longer function if it is spoiled. Because if you know the mysteries, you can no longer play it. So this is the sternest spoiler warning you're ever going to get. You're not going to get the chance to play this game if it is spoiled for you. It just won't work. So
very true.
Heed our warnings.
Yes. At your own peril. Because if you ruin this game for yourself, it's a big deal. This game is worth not spoiling. It's worth experiencing for yourself. So thank you, Whitelight. And we'll give you guys a second to leave. But for those who remain, you better be good boys and girls, and you better have actually played the game. And I hope you have. Because the way we're going to be trying to talk about this game is we want to just feel like we're explorers of the solar system, sitting around a campfire, roasting marshmallows, swapping stories. We're probably going to talk about the end a bit, but mostly I just want to talk about the experiences, like the crazy, wild, blow you away experiences that you've had playing the game, and just swap our little stories. But the way we start every one of these is we just share 3 words that come to mind as the defining words, maybe, for the game. And Chris, I don't know, if you want to go first, then I can go, and then Whitelight, you can go, so you have time to really make sure you're set on them.
Okie doke, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so I have my... I was going to choose 3 words, but I wanted to choose a phrase. And it's finding comfort in loneliness and inevitability. But if there's one word I could choose, it would be holy.
Ooh.
That's all I got for now.
I think that's great, yeah.
Wow. No, I love that. I think that the first word that comes to my mind, and you can elaborate if you want, Whitelight. It just, like, elaborate on each word. However you want to express it is all up to you. I tend to talk too much, and I talk more than Chris. Chris is very good at saying exactly what he means. But the first word that would come to my mind is awe-inspiring, which is not a word. It is 2 words.
Yeah, it's 2 words.
But man, like, I have never had an experience playing a game that made me just stand, like, open-mouthed, you know? Like, we were talking about Prey from Arcane last week, and I thought I almost said, like, awe-inspiring for one of the words, because there's some crazy moments, and the design is just out of this world. But, my man, this game is awe-inspiring. You just sit there, your mouth is agape, you're drooling, your eyes are, like, not comprehending what you're seeing. So those are 2 words, awe-inspiring. And then I would say, like, hopeful. Somehow, even amidst what the subject matters for the game, which we'll get into, somehow leaving this game, the predominant feeling I have is maybe not hope, but just, like, happiness, or, like, being okay, or, you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Being content.
Yeah, like contentness, but better. Super contentness.
Comfort. Yeah.
I'll leave it with hope. But those are mine. So awe-inspiring and hope. What are your 3 words, my friend?
Oh man, I honestly couldn't have hoped to put it better than Chris did. Originally, if I was bound to 3 words, I would have said accept your fate. But there was this great quote I saw in a different game that I think kind of summed up my feelings on Outer Wilds, and links in with the holy thing, and that's paradise is believing in something beyond yourself. So yeah, it's like salvation, I suppose. Yeah, okay, I'm only using that word because it's holy. Salvation is believing in something better.
Oh, I love that. And, I think there is a reason that, words like holy and then words that follow holy come to mind. It's just, there's something deeply spiritual about this game, and not in regards to like, a specific religious or like philosophical preference. It's just, there's something that really speaks to the soul in this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Well, very good words. And man, I guess now that we've started our little campfire, let's just share some stories. See how these words kind of apply in real life. Because this game really does feel real. There's a few games where you can be as immersed as you are in this game.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is an incredibly engrossing experience.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't feel like you're in so much danger, or like you're in a real world like you do in any other game. There's something very special about it.
Well, that's probably the ultimate expression of its theme, isn't it? Because you are in extreme danger all the time, but you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And that's how it gets its message across.
I love that. Are there any stories that come to your mind that you'd like to share? Any experiences you had in the game, or do you want us to start?
I think all of my major anecdotes are probably like things that we should save for later. So yeah, why don't you guys start?
Okay. As I was playing the game, I would just write down when something crazy happened, and a lot of them are funny in retrospect because it's like so dumb that I didn't understand what was happening in the game. But I was really bad at piloting at first, and I remember the first time I was trying to fly to like Brittle Rock or something, one of the planets. I was going in just way too fast. Like I didn't understand the physics of the game yet, and I like going in promptly crashed into the planet. The ship exploded, and I remember just like my body was flung into outer space because it like hit it at an angle kind of.
Yeah.
And just watching as my thrusters couldn't, reverse the force. And so I just drifted endlessly into space and died of oxygen deprivation. And I didn't really realize how the loop worked. I didn't realize that. I kind of thought I could make it or I could survive,
Yeah.
But just floating for probably 10, 15 minutes and just watching as the sun slowly shrank. And there's just something very special about how horrifying this game can be, as you slowly just drift off and like lose consciousness and die.
Yeah.
But I remember that was probably one of my first 2 or 3 runs, and just understanding how dangerous this world is. Even like, not the planet didn't even kill me. I just killed myself. I just like flew off into space. But that is one thing that struck me. It was the first thing I wrote down. But that's probably the least crazy one. What happened to you, Chris?
Kind of want to start a little bit off with when whenever I heard about this game, I would always think about the Outer Worlds. So
that was popular.
The good thing about that is that I never understood what this game was going to be like. I always had the Outer Worlds in my head, even though it was wrong. Which is, that game's fine in its own right, but I remember starting the game and thinking, it's Annapurna, so it has to be good, right? But I was kind of put off with I wasn't expecting them to be aliens, but funny enough, that's like one of the most humanizing parts about them. But I felt like, am I just going to be going from planet to planet in like these villages? I had no idea there was a ship. And then come to find out, the ship is like your best friend. You really get familiar with it, and by the time you're done playing it, which I'm not done playing the game. I successfully completed a few loops, but I'm still going through it. You really master that thing. You get really good with it. Especially when you want to land on the sun station, which is grueling. I remember my hands are sweating, and I don't think I was even there. It was like an out of body experience. I just remember doing it. I don't remember thinking about it. But I remember the first time I got into the ship, I just flew straight up, and I somehow got onto for some reason I'm blanking on all the planets' names right now, but is it Brittle Rock or
Brittle Rock's the one with the black hole.
Oh, okay. What's the one with the vines?
Dark Bramble.
Dark Bramble, thank you. I got there, which is probably, in hindsight, probably the worst planet to go to at first. And I remember just going through there and finding my first astronaut, and it took me a long time.
Wow, you found him immediately. Dang.
Well, because I kept knocking into the vines, and my ship was about to explode on me. And I find his campsite, and I remember getting there and talking with him, and then I hear this, this low boom in the distance. I'm like, what the heck was that? Is there like a monster here or something? And then the sun supernovaed, and I wasn't expecting that at all. But seeing that is pretty remarkable for a video game. And I don't think I've ever played a video game that quite feels like a universe. It feels like a living, breathing thing. I know those are kind of, buzzwords almost when you talk about Red Dead Redemption or Mafia or Saints Row or something.
Yeah.
But it felt like this was a cohesive universe that had rules, and I never felt quite like an explorer ever in a video game. I felt like I was really actually solving problems, finding things, and learning, which it's very rare for me to feel that way in a video game. But yeah, Dark Bramble was my first kind of wow moment.
Wow. I don't want to interrupt. Like, if you have something, while I just kick us out of the way. But something that you said that it brought something to mind, because it's not just like, we talk about immersive sims and how they have what's the word? But gameplay that just comes from the environment, right? Mm-hmm. And gameplay that just happens. And I think that this game's special because it's not just emergent. That's the word. It's not just emergent gameplay, but it's like got emergent emotion. Mm-hmm. Where there are these moments that are not contrived or designed to make you feel a certain way. The world itself just functions like our world, and sometimes does make you feel a certain way. Like you're on a walk with, a significant other or something, and just at the right moment, the sun sets and you begin to contemplate, like the cycles of life. Like that happens in real life, but that happens in the game. Like I remember talking about, you said about the sun station, Chris. I don't know if you tried to land on it, Whitelight.
Oh, I did. I did exactly what Chris did, except I never got that good.
Oh no! So you only have the painful.
I jammed my ship into a specific arrangement, and I managed to slip through, and I got there eventually. But was it difficult?
Yeah, it was.
It was, man. How far into the loop were you when you did it? Was it like right
immediately?
In the beginning, or
immediately, I rushed there, tried to get as much time as I could, because it'll fall in if you don't.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so because once you're in the sun station, you really, and I might be wrong, but as far as I know, you really can't get out, right? Like once you're in, it's really hard to get back to your ship because it kind of drifts away from the station, and you're kind of screwed, right? So, speaking of emergent emotion, the sun station was one of the last things I did before I understood the ending, right? So there was a part of me that still thought that maybe there was a solution to all of this. And maybe if I could get to the sun station, and maybe if I could press the right button, I could stop the world from ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I get there, probably 50 tries, right? Where you're just like, like your ship's shaking, your controller's trying to vibrate out of your hand. You're just, you're Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar when like the thing's spinning and he has to like match velocity.
Come on, Tars.
It's just, yes, come on, Tars. Oh, it's so intense, like few experiences are intense as that. So you die hundreds of times trying to get into the ship. You finally make it. You drift across the debris. You make it into the sun station, and then you read that it can't work. The sun station doesn't work. There is no solution. And on the bench next to the wall where it says that, there's a dead Nomai. And, the sun's expanding, and you don't have time to get out. And I just walked over, sat on the bench next to him, and just watched the world end. And it's just such a profound, emotional experience that wasn't necessarily intended,
Yeah,
But,
it's funny because you went in with the assumption that that there might be a way to save the world in the sun station, which creates an incredibly powerful contrast. But the one thing that is there is the sun station track, the music.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that's a reversed version of one of the tracks that plays somewhere else. I can't remember, but it's reversed to evoke the same emotions, but in sort of like an opposing way. I can't remember what he said, but it's supposed to communicate that hopelessness exactly as you described it. It's supposed to say, well, you feel bad now.
Yeah.
Or feel contemplative or whatever it is. But I remember that very well too. I thought the music was incredibly well timed in that bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the music is on point at every moment.
It really
It's just so good. Oh man, did you play it on Steam or GOG or where is it available on PC?
I played it on Steam, but I imagine it's available everywhere, really.
Probably, yeah.
I think so. Did you go for achievements? Was that something you like to do?
No, I never go for achievements.
Okay. So Chris is an addict and I'm a sometimes
We are not
addict.
the same.
And so I like to get the achievements. Yeah, we are not the same. That's right, Chris. But there's a couple really good achievements in this game because they just ask you to see the world in a different way.
Yeah.
And one of them is called At Least You Tried. And it's when you go far enough out of the universe that you can't even see the sun anymore. Anyways, but it takes like 20 minutes. But you got to go just as fast as you can away from the sun at top speed for the entire loop, essentially.
Yeah, I tried that once.
And
just to see if I could beat the cycle.
Oh, wow.
did it work?
No.
No.
Supernova gets you, man.
Nothing you can do. And man, I had a little sad experience with it because it's sad, obviously, because the supernova kills you. But if you are far enough away and you use the signal scope, you can hear everybody's music at once.
Yes.
Because they get caught in it. And I had like the saddest little experience because I'm going backwards. You're going like 50,000 kilometers or meters a second. So you're going super fast and you can hear them all. But then when the sun goes supernova, it slowly reaches each one of them at different times. It's horrible. And so like first, like, the drums go out and then Esker leaves and then, the banjo's out. And so at the end, it's just the Feldspar's harmonica and you're just alone. And then it cuts out and it's just static.
Oh,
And
man.
then you die.
That's brilliant. I did not know you could do that.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was like scarring, man. Oh, the song, like, I was listening to the No Clip documentary, which is really great. If you guys haven't seen it and you haven't played the game, go watch the No Clip documentary about the making of Outer Wilds. It's awesome. But the composer talks about the music and playing it. And man, you just get like teary-eyed just like listening to the main theme. I don't know what magic juice they were taking when they composed the music, but it's phenomenal.
It is. It's really, really incredible stuff.
Are there any moments other than the sun station that stuck out to you because of the music, Whitelight?
Yeah, I think it's that the unknown, it can't help but create both fear and curiosity at the same time, probably for the same reason, but when you put your signal scope into the darkness of space, or even through the black hole, this is one of my favorite ones, you never ever would expect music to be coming from this massive nothingness. And when it does, you think, this is actually quite scary. What the f*** is going on? But you also think, wow, is the universe singing? And it kind of is, basically.
Yeah.
And I think it's that mix of this is slightly unsettling, and yet this is also really quite incredible.
Mm-hmm.
That you get when you use the signal scope and you hear music in the most unlikely of places. I think that's really quite effective, I guess.
I love that. It is. What was your favorite song, Chris? Or is it just the main theme?
It's probably just the main theme. I love the banjo, man. I would go to Dark Bramble, and that's where he is, right? Yeah, I'll go there and visit him sometimes just to listen to him. And Chert, I gotta say is probably my favorite astronaut. And he's on Ember Twin. And he's fascinating by himself, and I know he's just playing drums, so he's not the most entertaining or maybe, I don't know, sophisticated of the instruments, but yeah, probably just the main theme. And I would occasionally just try to line up all the planets so that I can get the full song to its full effect. And especially at the end, when you get to kind of compose which instrument plays first and you make the song at the very end was really touching. But yeah,
should we just talk about the ending and then see where everything brings us?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, sure.
I'm ready to have my heart broken once again. I guess Whitelight, what are your thoughts on the lead up to the ending, the whole ending sequence? What do you think about
the Outer Wilds,
the last experience?
It's such an open-ended game. You can approach it in so many ways. I remember a post about some guy's wife who never plays games accidentally completing the game in like 20 minutes, and he was just staggered that it happened.
Wow.
But I failed pretty hard around the end. I was trying so many solutions, and none of them worked. And I found one of the solutions I tried was going to the quantum moon or something with the ash twin thing to see what would happen when the cycle completed. And it came up with this ridiculous reason why it wouldn't. I mean, I get why it wouldn't work. Maybe it wouldn't achieve anything, but the reason it gave was dumb.
What did it say?
I like you drift out into nothingness. Like, why have I drifted out into nothingness? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
So when I got to the ending, I thought, that was it? That's all you had to do? That?
Because it's easy compared to some of the crap you do trying to learn what's going on.
I know. I love the ending. I love the actual ending bit. I thought it just had that Outer Wilds mix of horror yet mystery that just defines the big nature god thing. And I loved the birth of the new universe. It was beautiful. And I love the way you had to accept it, everything that happened, and the fact that you were all going to die, but it's just nature. It's just life. But yeah, I suppose it was bittersweet for me.
Which around the campfire, did you talk to them before you went up into the orb?
Yeah.
What was your favorite dialogue from those guys? Which one gave you the dialogue that hit you the most in the heart?
I don't remember, which is a great answer. I know. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. They've been what's the word for carving in marble? They've been carved into my brain, so I can't forget them. Man, well, I don't know, Chris though. What was your favorite one before I just start talking about all of them or whatever?
I honestly don't remember either.
Oh my gosh, am I the only one?
I think I was too enveloped by the emotions and I don't know, just the whole process of it to
That's understandable.
Really, I hate saying not paying attention to the dialogue, but for me it kind of goes with the, I don't know, it kind of is, this is it, and it's just how it has to be. So I talked to a couple of them, and when the smoke made the orb, I just jumped straight into it. I'm just fully accepting what was happening.
You're a better man than me. So it's man, I don't know. Their dialogue might not be as important as it was to me, because just everybody has such a different experience with the game. But there were a couple things that they said that I found just really powerful. And they might not be powerful, because that's the cool thing about words and everything. They mean nothing at one time, but they mean everything in a different context, right? And I think Esker is my favorite guy. He's just like this old guy that no one cares about anymore, chilling on the moon. He's the one who whistles. Yeah. And when you talk to him after the song ends and stuff, he says that he's like, man, how long has it been since all of us got together and just got to play our instruments?
I do remember that now, yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's so nice. And then he just is like, I'm just glad I got to be with my friends at the end. And you're like, oh, my eyes. I'm just crying. And I really liked Rybeck too. He was the bigger one. He's in Brittle Rock, and he's the archaeologist, and he has the banjo. And he says, like, that it's okay that we're part of the past, right? Because the future, which is going to happen no matter what, is built on the past. The past is always going to be there, and the future will be too, even if we don't get to see it, right? And it's just like, man, like you said, Whitelight, that idea that we're a part of something, that we're a part of something bigger than ourselves, and that things have ends, and that, like, that's okay. Because every end is a new beginning, and it's just so beautiful. And many tears. Many tears were shed talking to those guys. And I didn't even think I cared about them, until you're around that campfire with them and you realize they've been with you the whole way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
It is wild. But I don't know. What are there any other experiences that you had, Chris, or that you had, Whitelight, that really struck you? Besides, oh my gosh, the ending where you like go up and the music plays and it's like a holy concourse of angels as it explodes and slowly consumes you. Man, it's an experience.
I guess going through Brittle Rock in the last moments of the cycles, when the black hole is just tearing the planet apart, and that's when some of the music kicks in too. I think that really encapsulates a lot of the feelings that you get from the game, because of course Brittle Rock just represents this decay. And another great thing about Brittle Rock is that as it falls apart, you get a view outside to the sun.
Yeah.
So it really condenses all the emotions the game has into one point. And I think that's probably my favorite moment the game has to offer. It's the final moments when you're inside Brittle Rock and, the planet's spinning, and every time it spins, you can see the star die and maybe the supernova come a little closer. I always think that's incredible.
Wow. That's good. That's a good moment. No, it's really interesting the way it makes you feel when the music kicks in. Those final moments are always so special. And it's crazy because it kind of mirrors real life, right? Where like you hear the music and you're like, oh no, like I don't take me now. Like I have more things to do. I'm not finished, And it's just crazy, the feelings it can evoke. And I love what you said about how it kind of resembles what's going on in the whole world, the decay. It's crazy.
Yeah. That reminds me of, I have a similar experience like you, Whitelight, but on Ember Twin. I adore Ember and Ash Twin so much.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're my favorite planets, or if they're even planets, but I loved talking to Chert, who's the drummer on Ember Twin. And his job is to kind of monitor the sun and the sun station. He's right there. And it's a very sad thing when he realizes that the sun is going to supernova, and he's just counting down the minutes. So there was one time where I sat there I was exploring Ember Twin, and then I just started talking to him, going through all of his dialogue, and then it changed. You can keep talking to him throughout the loop, and his dialogue will change depending on how much closer you are to the supernova. And yeah, he realizes that it's about to go, and he, somberly plays his drums, and he is like, well, it's just me and you right now. It's gonna be here any moment. And Ember Twin is the closest planet to the sun, so you're spinning and the sun is right there the whole time, so you just see it shrink, you see it pull the sun station in through its gravity, and it's pretty remarkable watching it that close.
Wow.
Especially with a companion, because the whole game you're pretty much alone besides the music, because the music, even though you're alone in space, the music makes you feel like you're a part of a larger group.
Yeah.
It's how they communicate with each other, kind of, or it's how they keep in communication. And it's really sad when you go through the supernova with a friend. At least for me, it hits a little harder than maybe the time that I was on Giant's Deep, and I was underwater and the supernova hit.
Yeah.
Which it's crazy when the supernova is about to go and it takes out all of the light in the solar system. That is one of the coolest things I've seen in a video game.
Everything gets dark for a moment.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Oh, I never noticed that, but now that you remind me of it, that is exactly what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is very, very impressive.
It's crazy, and it's that moment of silence right after the explosion that is... It's so... it's haunting, but it's also comforting, in a weird way.
Well, you hear
what's
nothing,
about to happen.
And then you hear the sound of wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's horrifying.
It is horrifying.
But it's also like crazy cool. Man, and speaking of Giant's Deep, man, were you on like an island the first time it got picked up by a tornado, completely baffled?
Man. Yeah. I thought the game broke.
Me too.
Yeah, I was like, I'm in space now.
Oh man, Giant's Deep is wild.
The first time you go through the clouds,
and
and then there's just tornadoes and an ocean.
Yeah.
You're going at Mach 10 towards the freaking
my
ocean.
gosh.
You don't even realize how fast you are.
Yeah, because it leads you to believe that it's going to be a gas planet, and then it's not. It's a water planet.
Oh, it's crazy. And because you'll be damaged, and your ship will be damaged if it's on the island and then it gets smacked down by the gravity.
Yeah.
And I remember that happened. And so it was like beeping, like the bad damage, like it's going to blow up. But the tornadoes were still nearby. So I didn't want to like try to repair it on the ground, and the gravity's too strong. So you can't like jetpack on top of it to get to the parts that need to be fixed. So I got in and I shot up into space, not realizing how strong the gravity of, Giant's Deep was.
Yeah.
And so like floating in space, trying to get around it to fix it. And then the gravity's pulling the ship in, and suddenly we're in like a free fall, falling into the water, trying to fix the ship. Oh my gosh. Just like cinematic moments like that.
Yeah, there's an interstellar moment.
Yeah.
Right? It's like crazy. It's like, and they didn't intend that.
No.
It's like things just happen.
Yeah, the game has a lot of sandbox potential. Sometimes literally.
Literally. Yeah, what are your experiences on like Ash Twin, Ember Twin? How did you like those planets, Whitelight?
Oh,
Speaking of sandboxes.
Hello.
I guess I liked them the least. Even though I did like them a lot. Ash Twin, I spent so much time looking for ways into buildings that it just made me want to throw myself into the sun. Ember Twin was fun, but you had to take the same route inside every time. I thought, I did really like the mechanic. The mechanic's great.
It's crazy. Were you frustrated by how Ash Twin was the solution to everything for almost every problem, it felt like?
I was
Or was that just me?
I was frustrated by how you got into a lot of the places in Ash Twin. I thought it was just annoying. It's like, that was it? There's no big solution. There's no multiple moving parts don't have to combine in any way. It's just, you had to realize one tiny quirk about some random tower. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt that. I didn't like that bit so much.
I think that's the biggest weakness for me. Somehow Ash Twin is at the center of all of that, just like it is in the story, right?
Yeah.
But, like, especially the sun station, oh, that made me mad. The fact that you have to wait for the sand to be at exactly the right point, and then you can, like, walk through and you're fine. You go to the sun station, or the ending where the funnel of sand, right, has to be right over.
Yeah, that's how it is.
And you just gotta walk into the sand? I don't know. It's just...
I know, the game asks you to think outside the box a lot, and this is the one time it wanted you to think inside the box, and I thought, oh, it's a bit... I really wanted everything to come into play for that ending. That there would... You'd find some rule that contextualizes every single thing in the solar system, and you'd figure out what you had to do. And there wasn't. And it was that.
Yeah.
Maybe the puzzle would have been great if it was a puzzle that was for something earlier.
Yes. It felt like your standard 1 or 2 step puzzle from like the rest of the game, you know? But it is a little anticlimactic for the ending. And I know that for me, navigating Dark Bramble is not the most fun.
It's not hard.
Like, how did you guys react to understanding exactly how the anglerfish worked? Like, what did you do? How did you approach that? Because I was baffled. I had to Google it to make sure to understand exactly what it wanted me to do. Does that make sense? Like, so how did you guys approach the anglerfish? Or is it just obvious and I'm just stupid?
I did by accident. I went through, because you're using the signal scope to follow the transmission, and I had to get up to do something when I went through the seed or whatever it is, the portal, and I came back and my ship was, flying automatically. It's gliding through these anglerfish, and I was like, "There's anglerfish." So I kind of just watched to see what it would do, and then I got to the thing. So it was by pure luck and ignorance.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one hell of a moment.
That's crazy, Chris. What?
Yeah.
Dude, I probably flew through that opening like 20 times.
Yeah.
Trying to go at like different speeds and like turning my headlights off.
And then you get eaten
and,
by
like,
an anglerfish?
Going in backwards. Yes, and getting eaten constantly. Because the thing is this, the kids say they're the little fish and the anglerfish. So I started to think, obviously the ship isn't working because I'm going like really slow, like barely any speed at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, little fish. I have to be out of the ship. So I started like ejecting out of the ship, and then they'd come eat me right away.
That was good thinking on your part, though.
I was
that was a good idea. I just thought because anglerfish always have some kind of sense that isn't sense that isn't sight. So I thought, what's it going to be? I guess it's going to be noise. So just glide.
Could you?
You guys are geniuses.
Could you have used?
I didn't realize you had any speed.
Could you have used your little satellite? Because that has light, right? Would they have like gone away if we used that? Maybe.
That's a good question.
No.
Because I tried.
Okay.
Oh.
It just because they hear you shoot it and they're like, oh, let's end him, and then they just kill you. You just have to drift, which is fine.
It's a big test of patience during the ending run because you always want to get through super quick. But if you overshoot by just a little, sorry, you should have been more patient. Try again.
Mm-hmm. And did you have any cool experiences during your guys' ending, or did everything go Ocean's 11 smooth?
I mean, I died a lot of times to the anglerfish, but everything else was just, I did the thing. I had a lot of trouble finding the vessel because I never scanned one of the distress signals on one of the planets. I think I never scanned the one on... It must have been Brittle Hollow. I never scanned it. It was such a dumb mistake. But it meant that I couldn't actually find the vessel.
Mm-hmm.
So that was that was a big hiccup.
That's hard.
Yeah.
I scanned the Ember Twin.
Did you not scan either of or both of them either, Chris? How did you guys find the vessel?
I scanned the Ember Twin.
You just wander
there's
around?
What is it? Just one of the old ships has the distress beacon outside of it, and I just scanned that while I was exploring the old Nomai ship or whatever.
Yeah, there's 3 of them you gotta get. I think if you get all 3, then you get to find the vessel.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one I missed.
Because there's one in Dark Bramble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't escape. And then if you find... Because you know the seed that's in there? There's like a seed in the second chamber.
I think so.
Because if you shoot your scout into the seed...
Oh, yeah.
It lands on the vessel. And you can use it as a guide.
Yeah.
Because it'll appear at the next place, yeah.
Good. I'm glad you guys knew that. I thought you just struggled infinitely and just eventually in the darkness found the vessel.
I always went to the red dot for my first few runs. I just wanted to figure out what was there. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that it didn't do anything.
Yes.
Rip.
No, Dark Bramble is a wild place. It's kind of interesting.
Yes, it is.
I didn't have too many wild experiences in there. But on my final run, one of the achievements is to do an entire loop or to beat the game in your first loop. So like without ever dying, start the game, do a complete loop.
Oh, wow.
And it can be really frustrating because you have to waste time talking to people.
Oh, yeah.
And getting your ship. And anyway, so you're on a real time crunch. And I tried it once and I died in the process. And I just was like, I got frustrated and came back to it the next day. But the next time I did it, I was like really short on time. I messed up a couple things on the Ash Twin. But I got to Dark Bramble and I got sighted by like an anglerfish. And so I'm weaving between the vines trying to get away from it. And I crash right in front of the seed that leads to the final area. And I'm like, the ship's like blaring. I'm like, I cannot do this a third time. I've wasted like an hour of my life doing this. And I can hear the fish coming. So I eject out and I go through the seed. You can't follow you through.
Yeah.
But then I had to do the rest of it without a ship and just like drifting between the anglerfish. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was spooky. But it was very cinematic. It's like, whoa, I made it.
I tried to do the whole thing with no ship. The whole Dark Bramble with no ship.
Wow.
And you do run out of oxygen.
So cool.
It's really tough.
Yeah. It's pretty it's a nail biter. White knuckle.
Do you guys remember the quantum statue in Ember Twin where you have to turn your light off?
Yes.
And it takes you somewhere else?
Yes.
Man, that was terrifying.
Yes. Oh.
I love all the quantum trials.
Yeah.
Especially with how they teach you the rules of this game's versions of physics, teaching you like to take a picture of the quantum moon, so then you can go land on it. It's just awesome. I loved all those things, especially the one on Giant Steep. I thought that one was really cool. When you go up the tower.
There's so many good ones. Yeah. No, really creative. Mm-hmm. I love the way it all comes together and you have to know everything for the ending. I think that's pretty cool. So I guess that's one area that they do a good job of bringing everything together.
I mean, it doesn't actually make sense, the moon one, because you could see it when you were just walking into it anyway.
That is true.
I know.
Maybe because of the fog, you can't technically see it. Something stupid.
Yeah, that's completely legitimate, but the picture was only of the fog.
That's true.
Right? That's what I was just thinking. And the other weird thing is if you take a picture in picture mode, it doesn't work.
Oh, really?
What do you mean?
You have to shoot the scout, and the scout has to take a picture.
I guess if you go into the game's photo mode, it doesn't work.
Yeah, like if you switch it so it just takes a picture of what you're looking at.
Oh, I didn't know you could even do that.
Oh, man. Your life must have been so
I would always just shoot the satellite and then... Well, because can you do that on the ship where you just take a picture? Oh, I didn't know that. I always shot the satellite.
Yeah.
Also, like, how long did it take you guys to realize that pictures could show you where ghost matter would kill you?
I didn't know that.
Oh. I think
Wow.
I realized that. No, I did realize that pretty early in because I kept dying and in between.
Yeah.
It was always annoying when I died to ghost matter because it kills you so quick, especially in the blue place, the atoll.
Yeah.
What was that called? The interloper.
The comet?
Yeah, the interloper.
The interloper, yeah. Well, how sad is it? Like, so when I connected the dots on the interloper, my mind was blown, right? That this entire civilization of people who are so advanced and so close to what they're looking for, like they're so close to getting to the eye. And then, like, all they needed to do is like bring a jetpack to the quantum moon guys, like think here, but like they're so close to the ending. And then they just happen to find a random comet, and it just happens to kill all of them at once in like a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
It's like, this is how it ends? That's the Know My Story?
That's everyone's
It's
story.
just the ghost rock.
Is just something happens and it's over. It's how insignificant we are, you know, in the grand scheme of things. The universe is going to do whatever it wants to do. It might be a comet. It might be a supernova. It could be sinking in a sand pit in a cave.
Oh yeah.
Losing oxygen. You know, it's like what I said. It's the inevitability of everything in it.
I love that. I think it's like the message of the story. It's the perfect ending.
I never fully understood
A little discussion.
how the ghost matter killed everyone though.
Yeah.
Because like,
Yeah, I don't know.
what kind of explosion
just
has a
kinda-
100% radius, apart from a supernova, obviously, around the entire solar system?
I'm with you. Because especially, cause, like, you go in there, and, like, the comet, you know, it is sound. You know, like, how did the ghost matter get
Well,
out?
that's the thing. It bursts open every time it goes near the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Because it melts.
Whoa.
Well, parts of it melt, and that
Wow.
releases pressure, and that blows out the ghost matter or whatever.
Wow. You are a true detective.
I just read that.
I had no
I just
idea.
read that on the wiki.
Nah, you're a professional.
Yeah, we'll bleep that out. The people don't need to know.
Yeah, I did that one out.
Oh my gosh. That's wild. But yeah, it is odd. It's kind of a little quirky thing. And also, like, I guess they explained that at the beginning, how, like, the ghost matter loses its power over time. And so maybe that's why it doesn't just murder you every time.
True. And I also read that it is completely neutralized by water, which is why it didn't kill the Proto-Harthians.
What? Wow, who knew?
Yeah, that's why the little Harthians who are still evolving on Earth, or whatever it's called, Timber Hearth, didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That makes sense. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Did you guys go into the geysers, by the way?
Yeah.
Which ones?
Like any of them on Timberhearth, they all kind of lead to the same place.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, you gotta do it.
You
I did it by accident. I was blown up by one and then just like set down the controller thinking it would push me into space. But then I fell down the geyser hole and you're like in a whole other area.
Oh,
I followed the quantum signal.
Man, you were a signal scoper.
I was
Sniffing out
I
all sorts of
love
secrets.
I love that thing.
I'm proud of you. Yeah, Whitelight, you got to go do that. You got to leave the podcast
I'm
right
sure.
now and go into the
I'm
geysers.
sure I've been to the place where it leads because I also saw the quantum thingy. But no, I never used the geyser route. It just.
Mhm.
I should have done that. But what if it was hot?
There's so many little secrets.
What if it burned my off or something? I don't want to risk. Didn't want to risk it.
That's what I thought. It's like lava down there, man. I thought I would die.
Yeah.
But it's safe.
On the what's the planet with the lava moon? Is that Dark Brown?
Brittle Hollow.
Brittle Hollow. Did you go into those volcanoes?
Yeah. That's intense.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. It's like,
You gotta find the one with the information in it.
Yeah.
It's only like one of
know,
the
and
3
that's-
volcanoes or something.
Like, that's the kicker. You try to land on the wrong one, you just think there's nothing
Yeah.
there.
I don't know if we're coming to a close on Outer Wilds topic-wise, but one thing that I am very curious about is how they continue it with the DLC. I haven't played Echoes of the Eye yet.
No, not
But
me.
I felt like the game had a perfect period on it, for me at least, that this is what it is, and it's all it's ever going to be. How do they... I don't know. I mean, the game's really old, but BioShock Infinite kind of... kind of feels like it ruins... maybe not ruins, but it ruins the experience of sequels. And I feel like if you continue Outer Wilds, you know what's going to happen, right? You already know the ending. I wonder how Echoes of the Eye is going to
I've
live
heard
up to Outer Wilds.
I've heard people who've played the game, the Echoes, who basically share the same sentiment as you, and just thought they avoided it by basically saying, well, this is not really the same game. This is just that you go in here and now you're playing. It's connected kind of lore-wise. It does reveal some things about the lore of the main game, but this is basically Outer Wilds 2. It's not really the same story.
Interesting.
I'd say that's what I heard as well.
Oh,
And
well.
man, everybody at home, pull out your crisp bingo cards. Made sure to bring up how BioShock Infinite's bad, and
It's not a
Jericho in the
bad
same
game, it's just-
episode.
I wasn't too hot on the ending, but I love Infinite still, but it's not that good. It's
well,
not.
it's
It's not one. You know. I don't know if it's even 2.
Oh boy.
I love 2.
Yes, you love everything that's not infinite, so that makes sense. But man, I don't know. I mean, do you guys have any closing comments about Outer Wilds? I think it's wonderful. I think everyone should play it. It's one of those highly personal games. But what are your closing thoughts on it, you guys?
Good game.
The best closing thought.
Thank
of all.
you.
What about you, Chris? Can you match good game?
Game.
Oh,
There you go.
No, I feel
I'm not
like
gonna say anything. I'll
I
leave it to
said
you
my
guys.
piece earlier.
Listen to the soundtrack. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. That is correct. That is the truth.
Just fly into
Man,
the sun. Forget everything.
Just fly into the sun. No, that's the perfect. That's the
God,
perfect ending.
you're gonna do that
Thank
if you
you.
try to get to the sun station. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Oh my gosh, it's so intense. And this game is intense. And you guys should play this game. Why are you listening to us? Play the game. And man, Whitelight, I'm looking forward to your video. That's gonna hopefully be on this if that occurs. I really am excited to see what you have to say when you can actually express yourself fully.
Yes. Some point this year or some point next year, I don't know. But yeah, I'd love to talk about this game.
How exciting. And we'd like to talk about you a little
Oh.
bit, if that's okay. I know we're a little far into
No,
this, but we
no
have a
problem.
couple of questions for you, and we were hoping you could answer.
Okay.
All right. Chris, you want to lead off on this bad boy?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
Take us on a journey, my friend.
Absolutely. Actually, I think we had an order. I don't think I have that order. I guess first off, why Whitelight?
Well, I've always had this naming scheme where I'd pick a noun and an adjective, and that's really genius, if you ask me. Because you never see that with, like, you know, randomly generated Xbox gamer tags or something.
Yeah.
But eventually, I came across this brilliant combination of a name, of a noun, and an adjective in the game Prototype. Prototype 2, really. And they named the virus Black Light, Red Light, White Light. And I thought, holy shit, those are really compelling nouns and adjectives. So I was thinking Black Light, that's a bit edgy. Red Light, that's pretty cool. But it would sound like I was reviewing porn or something. So Whitelight's really good because white rhymes with light, so it's perfect. There you go, Whitelight. There you go. Origin story complete.
Wow.
I feel like
Amazing.
I just watched.
And then my uncle was
Spider-Man
shot,
2001.
and he told me
Yeah,
with great
there
power
you
comes
go.
great responsibility. Yeah,
Oh wow! I knew you were Tobey Maguire.
the whole time
Yeah.
I'm going to put some dirt in their
Whole
eye.
time. Oh baby, here we go. Little goblin gonna cry.
Yeah, your husband gave you that
Where's
name.
the best
rent?
Spider-Man, by the way?
Oh, best Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Damn.
answer.
Well, it's not
It's
Tom
three,
Holland.
obviously.
That's right.
Oh, wait, are you asking which is the best Spider-Man movie or the best Spider-Man actor?
Oh, the actor.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Well, it's either Toby
Whatever baggage
or
they
Andrew.
come with.
Andrew's a great Parker and a great Spider-Man, to be honest, but I suppose I have to go with Toby because of the context he exists in. He works so well for the world he's in.
Mhm.
Whereas Andrew kind of didn't work as well for the world he was in, even though Andrew alone was a great Spider-Man.
Yes, he was. Wow. I'm glad that you said that. Now we can actually publish this episode. You're allowed to stay on. So
Thank you.
that was the correct answer.
Just not Tom Holland.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just not Tom Holland. What about Nathan Drake? You think he's the right
No.
Nathan Drake?
Oh
He
my
was only
gosh.
picked because he's Tom Holland. It's ridiculous.
I know. What's the deal? Are you proud that he's part of not Brexit Britain?
I like Tom Holland. I just don't think he's as good as Andrew or Toby. And I do not think he is Nathan Drake. There you go. That's my policy. If I ever become a politician, everyone's going to hear that on TV every day.
Wow.
It's
Can't wait to tune into Parliament and hear that.
Thank you.
it's not a good thing when your Sully looks more like Nathan Drake than your Nathan Drake.
It's totally bizarre. How
And
did
what's
it
up with
even
the
happen?
mustache? There's no mustache on the cover of the movie, on the posters.
Who do they think they are?
They wanted
Sickening.
Henry Cavill's mustache. They wanted to get in on that.
Yes.
Hopefully they just CGI it onto Mark Wahlberg,
Oh,
just like they did in Superman.
Yes, please. That would be awesome. We need to see that CGI technology come back.
Yes. It's been on hiatus, so I hope this movie has at least a little. And there was a question we had that kind of relates to your name, but it's not like about it. It's this game made me think about how there's so many different parts to play in life, right? Every explorer has a different instrument. They all have kind of different techniques and expertises among themselves. And like we all have a different part to play in like the orchestra of life. And so how did you arrive at the conclusion that you wanted to play this role in life, or you wanted to, like be the first Strand type video game reviewer, And of course it's not all you do, but how did you arrive at the point where you wanted to do
I
this?
suppose, like most things, it was a combination of necessity and inspiration. I didn't really have many physical options at the time. There just wasn't that much employment going around. So I thought, well, I'll use my internet skills, which there weren't many, but I had a lot of drive to get good. And I saw a Joseph Anderson video. You guys know who that is, right?
Oh yeah. Love Joseph Anderson.
Okay, so I saw his witness video in my recommended feed, and I thought, I don't want to watch 40-minute video, go away. And then, about a week later, it was still in my recommended feed. The gall. So I finally watched it, and I thought, holy f***, a video game review can make you feel something? And then I became Joseph's #1 fanboy, and decided that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can make video game content that is long and I suppose meaningful. And that's weird because I suppose I haven't really gone down the emotional route, the storytelling route that Joseph Anderson and Jacob Geller have gone down. But I suppose that's what started me nevertheless.
What another great origin story. That was
Yeah.
good. No, thank you for sharing that. They are great creators. It's crazy. They're definitely an inspiration to us, although I'm sure we're far less organized and less.
Oh,
less,
you'd be
what's the-
surprised. They're not that organized.
I was like, what's your process in regards to making a video? Like, how does Like, how many hours do you spend playing the game, researching the game, scripting? Like, what's it like to be Whitelight?
You'd be surprised at how little time, I suppose, anyone doing this really for a living can play games. I don't know, though, because it depends. It differs from person to person. I know a lot of long-form YouTubers, because they don't have extremely detailed editing. They've got great scripts and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's their personal choice not to have, I suppose, that time-consuming kind of edits.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes so much time to get all that ready in a timely manner so you can have something of an upload schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So a huge amount of it is just doing grunt work, like doing stitching audio together, stitching clips together, categorizing clips. It's so much of that stuff. Very little of it is really... Well, I mean, you play the game a lot. You have to get at least 2 playthroughs and you have to record it. So...
Yeah.
And you have to research it extensively, and you have to write about it extensively. But I suppose you might be surprised if you looked at the whole pie chart, how much time is spent playing the game. It's really quite a small slice compared to how much time is just, preparing the voiceover and preparing the visuals.
Mm-hmm. I just have to say, really quickly, I'm not one to go look after reviews for games usually. The closest one, like, I remember as a kid watching Donkey's reviews, or JonTron's,
Yeah.
kind of BS reviews in a way. And Donkey is kind of bad at certain games and amazing at others. But Ren's reviews has fantastic editing.
Ren is awesome.
I can't imagine how much work that he does, man. That's crazy. But Josh, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say I talked to Ren quite a bit, and he shows me some of his behind the scenes stuff.
Nice.
And those complex edits where he's got a rotoscope himself or something. Takes like 4 hours a pop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's so
That's why we're
creative.
a podcast. The pure laziness is what inspired this show.
No.
But Josh introduced me to your channel, and that was a rabbit hole, like Josh said, where I was just going down your videos, and you have some very long form videos, and that's the stuff I love. I know Josh loves it too. It's just very in depth, very articulate, and you pick some games that no one talks about, and that's like the greatest thing ever. Like, I loved your video of Mad Max.
Oh yeah,
a game that I hold kind of close to my heart, that no one really talks about because it got swept up with what was it, Witcher 3?
Oh, I got swept up with so
Metal Gear
much
Solid.
stuff. I can't remember what the big thing was, but yeah, it did get overshadowed massively.
And that's such a shame. And then you talk about the Fear games and the retrospectives, and
Oh God, yeah, such a long time ago. Yeah, Fear, yeah.
yeah, it's awesome. And I was gonna ask you, kind of, how do you choose the videos that you make? Because at least from the outside, it doesn't seem like you are pressured by contemporary games, stuff that's coming out.
I have
At least that's just my view.
Yeah, the thing is, if you were to cover games that were just coming out, that's not a great strategy for views, because people want to hear about games. People don't necessarily want to hear in-depth stuff about games on release, and you will notice that in the views. If you let a game sit on the back burner for maybe 1 or 2 years, it will be a more sought after topic for extensive discussion. So 1 year later is going to be better than 1 month later. So no, there wouldn't really be pressure to do recent releases unless you were a recent release reviewer.
Sure.
As for choosing games, it's just, is this video going to be enough to keep the lights on? If yes, and yes, there's a broad range for yes. So there's plenty of creative freedom within there. And then within that, it's just, what am I passionate about at the time?
Yeah, for sure.
But, the videos take so long that it's almost impossible that you can stay passionate about the game for the whole period. So, if you're lucky, then it's a game you're really passionate about.
Yeah. Your most recent one was the Arkham City movie, right?
Yeah.
The review. Heck yeah.
I started watching that review, and it was cracking me up because it reminded me of when I started playing it as a kid and just loving those games. And me and another buddy, we started playing them not too long ago, like maybe a few months ago. And man, I don't like them.
Oh.
They're kind of dog turds to me.
Wow.
I love Asylum
Uh-huh.
so much, but City goes into some territories where it's just so monotonous and meandering, and
If you're a
so much
plot-driven
stupid-
person, that game's not good, man.
no, it's not. But yeah, it's really cool to hear creators do. I mean, I think most creators do what they want to do, and they talk about the stuff that they love or they're passionate about. But it's cool that you're able to do it to such a extent that you can make a 3-hour video on Arkham City.
It was just, if I didn't care, if I didn't know that I was that passionate about Arkham City, I never would have done it, because the time investment would have just sent me into some, insanity. I would have been in a therapist's office.
Yeah. No,
There's always the pressure, though, for a lot of YouTubers. I guess I'm lucky to not have it too bad, but is this video going to do well versus do I care?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh,
yeah. It really cracks some people up.
And not in a good way.
No,
Yeah.
that's not the right choice of words, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Breaks them. Yeah, I feel you.
And it's
And,
I like what you said about the 1 year over 1 month kind of mentality, and that kind of we've experienced it, I think, especially with the latest Ratchet and Clank video game. We reviewed it pretty hot off the heels of getting that sweet platinum trophy for it, and then just in hindsight, like a month or two later, we're like, that wasn't that great.
Yeah, like going so fast, you don't even really realize what you actually think about a thing.
Yeah.
You know?
You get caught up in the moment.
Yeah, there's always a honeymoon period. There's always
Mm-hmm.
big narratives about a game that influence how you think when they come out, and then the dust settles maybe 3 months later, but people really want to hear about that stuff given time.
Mm-hmm.
2 years is a great sweet spot.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of timing and stuff like that, is there a game that you've reviewed or you've talked about where, like, looking back, you disagree with what you said about it, or where your feelings have changed on a game that you've reviewed?
There's a lot of videos where I think, oh, I really should have made that point better. What was I doing?
Mm-hmm.
I it's good that I'm able to see my mistakes in retrospect, but it's also painful. So when it comes to disagreeing, I think I would disagree with some things I said in my Control video.
Like Control by Remedy?
Yes. I think some things I should have researched better. I should have thought about more. Mainly regarding the atmosphere of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Other things. I'm just looking through my library now. There's plenty of things I disagree with in my Skyrim video, because I think I've just got much better ways of expressing all that stuff now. and the old ways are pretty outdated. There are some things I would cut from my Far Cry 5 video. Did you guys watch that one?
I haven't
did.
yet.
That's
no.
New Dawn,
Okay,
right?
yeah. Towards the end, because that video was so difficult to make, and I had to make it pretty quickly. And towards the end, there are some things that it's just like, I put that in because at the time it made sense, but that I only had one day of thinking about that, and it shouldn't have been in there.
Sure, yeah.
So I guess I do disagree with that.
Well, if it makes you feel better, we all loved him. So
Yes.
I think it's funny how we're all our own, by far our own worst critics.
Yeah, that is true.
But
Yeah.
But your videos are great.
Thank you, man.
And I know we look back at our first podcasts and vomit, like just in disgust. I mean, they're so bad, but it's funny to.
You guys seem really professional, man.
Well,
This is easily the most.
I'm even wearing pants.
Wow. Look at the setups. You've got epic gamer stuff.
That's right. Oh my gosh, I sleep in here.
It's all we have anymore. Whitelight. It's all we got.
You've sold everything else. If the camera pans, it's
Epic
just
gamer
it's just,
swag.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is a set. I mean, this is a storage container. It's not even a house.
No shame in that. Keeps the rain out.
No.
Keeps the rain out. That's right. And it keeps the gamer stank in. That's what matters.
Yeah.
And I guess, ending this, trying to make sure you actually have time to do everything you need to do in your day. I know we went a little longer than we said we might.
No problem.
But what's in your future? What are you looking forward to? What do you want to tell the people about all of our many subscribers? How do you want to... is there anything that you want to let everyone know you're doing that you're excited about?
Oh. I'm just the same old me, trying to get better, trying to make the videos work better, trying to make them smoother and more energetic. So, yeah, if you've stuck with me this far, then I'm not going to let you down this year either. I'm going to keep experimenting, keep trying to see what works and what doesn't. And I'm going to do more Assassin's Creed videos.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
I experienced them vicariously through your channel, so that's good.
Good to hear.
Oh yeah,
That's
You gonna
exciting.
review some quartz, some Ubisoft
No,
quartz?
would rather die.
That's right. No, thanks so much for being on the show, man. We're so grateful that you decided to spend some time with us. We've really enjoyed having you.
This is great.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go watch some Whitelight, I think.
I've really enjoyed being here. It was a great conversation, great podcast to be on.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on.
No, of course. You've been wonderful. We thank you. And we thank everyone else for watching, too. We love you guys. We're grateful you stick with us. If you guys are new, I don't know. Maybe like the video. Maybe subscribe to our channel. Maybe throw us a like. I don't know. Maybe go to patreon.com/Futon Talks. Whatever you guys want to do. We're just grateful you stuck with us, and we really hope you enjoyed the video. And make sure, if somehow you're not a subscriber of Whitelight or a patron of his, go to him. Man, he's a great content creator. Make sure you watch some of his videos. He's amazing.
Thank
but we
you.
are so thankful to you guys, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Adios.
Adios.
See ya.
Perfect. That's a wrap.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.